If I had powers, I would use them for good and to help society. Of course, after screwing around a little bit with them first. But you have to admit, you do the same thing. So today I'm reviewing Chronicle. Now Chronicle was a movie that going into February I was really excited for. I'd seen the trailer and it looked great. It looked like a really great addition to the found footage movie genre. And I was right. I thought I loved this movie. And Chronicle's basically about these kids that get superpowers after going in this hole during this whole party. And that's one of the things I didn't love about the movie. They never really go into like how they get their powers. They just have them go into this hole and the next scene they have them. And they never really say like why the hole was there, where they pretty much got them from. It's not really so much as an origin story as it is just them discovering these powers. But as you probably also saw in the trailer, after the kids get their powers and play around with them a little bit, one of them starts to use their powers for evil. And that's when the movie gets really good. So yeah, the first half of this movie is just kind of it's very light, and it's almost like a comedy, the first half. It's kind of funny. But then the second half, it gets a lot darker when this kid starts using his powers for evil. Another thing I realized throughout this movie is that I got really engaged and involved with the story, and not only the story, but the characters. I thought the characters were really well put together, and they weren't just your stereotypical, like, high school kids. They kind of, they weren't as cookie cutter as some people would say. Let's start off with the acting. I thought the acting in this movie was really good. It was mainly a cast of unknowns. There was one kid in this movie that was in a couple episodes of Friday Night Lights. He was in Red Tails recently, and he was in the show on NBC called Parenthood. But beside that, he really hasn't been in anything, and I guess he was the biggest name in the movie. But still, most people probably never heard of him before. But still, the acting was really good. And I guess there's some sort of rule that you have to cast unknowns for a found footage movie. I mean, think about it. Blair Witch Project, Chronicle, Apollo 18... Quick little quiz. Which of the movies which I just named is one that absolutely sucks? If you guessed Apollo 18, then you're right. God, I hated that movie. And still another thing, the special effects in this movie were actually really good. Afterward, I saw that the budget of this movie was only like $15 million, which isn't that much for a movie at all. But the special effects look like they did a really nice job with the budget that they had. A lot of the effects looked really believable, and although there are some scenes here and there that looked a little bit cheesy, it still was fine. If there was an Oscar for the best movie made on a budget, I'm pretty sure this movie would win. And I liked throughout this movie how they would switch from camera to camera. In some scenes, one of the kids would be recording. And another thing, it wasn't always the same person behind the camera. Like in movies like Cloverfield, it was always the same person filming the whole time. But in this movie, there's like everybody, all of the main characters go behind the camera at one point, it seems like. So I really like how it switches from camera to camera. There's this one scene where they're flying in the air, and they're surrounded by all these people's cameras. And I really like that scene because they keep switching it from camera to camera, and you see all these different views of it, and it's really well done. And I'm actually a big fan. I like the found footage genre. I don't love it, but I like it. Like movies like Cloverfield and Blair Witch Project, I really enjoyed. And this one's definitely in there with those two. Also, this movie's directed very well, and it's also a relatively unknown director. This guy named Josh Tank. And I read a little bit about him, and it turns out that he's only 26. I think he's a director with a lot of potential, especially being only 26 years old. Making a movie this good with such a small budget is really impressive. Now, another thing I didn't really like about the movie is the ending. I'm not going to give away what it was, but it kind of happened it was too random. It just happened too suddenly. And it didn't really make any sense with the whole plot or anything. But still, some people did like the ending, so I guess if you've seen the movie, then you have your own opinion on that. Also, finally, if you watch my other videos, you know I really pay attention to the script when I go to see movies. And I thought the script in this movie was really well done. I don't know who wrote it, but they did a really good job with this. And they might even have a kid in high school or something, because this is really the way that like me and my friends talk and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. Overall, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie, and I definitely recommend it. I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. There were still some flaws here and there, but they could be overlooked, and I just really love this movie. If you haven't seen it yet, then definitely check it out. So thanks for watching my review of Chronicle, and leave in the comments below if you like this review. Also, if you've seen Chronicle, or if you want to see Chronicle. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Alright, bye.